Are you serious? Are you serious? That's all we need is another dictator loose in the world. Not again. This time South America or Central America. And this time it's El Salvador. Are you serious? Some people love them. A lot of people fear them. And that's exactly what a strong man does. Are you serious? Welcome, everybody. This is the Coming Apocalypse YouTube version. I'm Pastor Paul Begley, and I'm so glad you're with me because this is a very big story that nobody knows about. But this is how these dictators rise. They rise up in the midst of problems when there's corruption and there's certainly gang activity and cartels and a lot of corruption. Somebody will rise up, but then they will use tactics that become more dangerous than even the situation you had. Let me put a shout out right now, if I can, for www.supportthesecond.com. That's www.supportthesecond.com. The Second Amendment we're talking about. You see, Ukraine has just adopted their own version of the Second Amendment, but it is too late. You see, Ukraine had strict control on gun laws for decades, but the Ukrainian government now has decriminalized gun ownership. They're passing the guns out to everybody for self-defense because of the invading forces of Russia. Another strong man, another dictator on the rise. This highlights how many necessary gun rights really are for self-defense. This is why I'm going to highly recommend this gold Second Amendment coin as a way to show your support for this constitutional right. You see, I love this coin so much that I've even given some of them away as gifts. And one side has this engraving of the skull and the two revolvers and the words Second Amendment, is my gun permit. And on the other side is the bald eagle with the words Second Amendment, United States Constitution, in God we trust. Folks, this is very interesting that we're living in a time now like this. If you want to support the Second Amendment, and boy, we better in this crazy world we're in, you'd love this gold Second Amendment coin. Just get yours right now, folks. If you'll go right now, you can get this coin for free in the next 24 hours if you go to www.supportthesecond.com. That's www.supportthesecond.com. And you'll be glad you did that. And boy, you ask any nation that gave up their guns and gave up their rights to own guns. This is why the founders put this in our Constitution, to help us in case of times like we're in right now. Well, let me just say, here we go. Things are getting a little crazy now. And we do have this El Salvador president who, he's only 29 years old, and he emerged on the scene. He's been in office now about a year, and he's using tactics that, boy, you can't do. The family of a man named Herbert Pena, 29, has gathered businesses, receipts, and signatures from clients to prove he makes his money honestly. They fear he's now stuck in an overcrowded prison. That's because the president has suspended, folks. He has suspended the Constitution of El Salvador. And and some people over there like the guy. They like what he's doing. But El Salvador is a nation. This guy, this Herbert Pena, he's a shoemaker, and he vanished from his hometown. He was hauled away in handcuffs by Salvadorian police. He's a family man. He gathered his family's now gathering business receipts and signatures for their clients to prove he makes his money honestly. And they fear he's now stuck in an overcrowded prison, accused of being a gang member. Even so, here's how afraid the people are. The family members there said they see the benefit of the police crackdown that led to his arrest, and they still admire their leader. Apart from this, The president has done a magnificent job, said Herbert Pena's brother, Caleb Pena. Now, Pena is one of more of 18,000 Salvadorians imprisoned in the last recent weeks after a spike in killings in March of gang activity led the government to declare a state of emergency, suspending civil liberties guaranteed in the Constitution and allowing children as young as 12 to all of a sudden be tried as adults for gang affiliation. This rush to judgment has broken all human rights violations and fundamental freedoms. Even U.S. Secretary of State Anthony J. Blinken urged the Salvadorian government to uphold the due process and protect the civil liberties of their constitution. But most people in El Salvador, they're not going to complain. They're afraid. They're afraid. And they don't want to say anything because they're scared that they'll be targeted next, or that if they do have family members that were arrested, will never get out. And so Nayib Bukele, the 40-year-old El Salvador president, I'm sorry, I said he was 29, he's 40, has become one of the world's most popular leaders. Really? How come? Because he's becoming a dictator. Because he suspended the Constitution of democracy or of a republic. Because he's using KGB type style draconian measures to crack down on the public in El Salvador. Now, he's doing it, he says, for good reasons, because of serious gang activity. But guys, you know, you don't replace a wolf with a wolf. And this guy's a wolf in sheep's clothing. You use law and order. You use the law. You crack down on the corruption, but you still protect people's rights. Look, and so I'm going to say something right now. The media here in America, though, is trying to prop this guy up as some kind of new style hero. They're looking for, if you're trying to turn a nation from being a republic or a democracy, the way to do that is to complain about the democracy, complain about the Constitution, to keep saying it needs to be altered, to keep saying it needs to be changed. And then the next thing you know, you convince the public it's okay to suspend rights to emergency. And we've seen it already, guys, in the world for the last 2 years during the pandemic. We've seen it. We experienced it. We watched it. Now the reason is because in El Salvador, because they've got a drug cartel problem. So they're going to just go ahead and get behind this guy. And he's cracking knuckles. He's throwing kids in prison. He's arresting innocent people, throwing them right in there with maybe some of the criminals. But if you don't allow people to have full due process, guys, you become a dictator. This guy has become a dictator, and now he's getting praised. And now he's getting outlets like the New York Times and others that are writing great, beautiful articles about him. They love him. And so this is why I'm trying to say we must. It's crazy, but it's funny how people don't know their history. Do you understand that that's what Fidel Castro basically did when he just raised up, became a dictator? He said we need to do something against this corrupt government, and he rose up a revolution. Then he became more corrupt and more brutal than anybody. And we've watched this time and time and time again. In Europe, we've seen it. In the Middle East, we've seen it. In Africa, we've seen it. And now we're talking, and we've seen it. Hugo Chavez did it. Sometimes they get elected, and then they start changing and doing away with the Constitution, and they just start. We've seen it in Egypt with Mohammed Morsi. Remember him? We watched it with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. We've seen it with Dictator after Mussolini in Italy, Adolf Hitler in Germany. I mean, we've seen it, and if we're not, that's why you cannot sit here and say, yeah, but he's doing a good thing. Yeah, no, breaking the rights of people is never a good thing. I didn't know he had Palestinian roots. Thank you for that, Juan. I didn't know that. I noticed his name did not sound or look Hispanic. You know, it didn't look Spanish. It didn't look El Salvador. He's 40. I said he was 29, but he's actually 40. The guy that they arrested, the shoemaker, the guy who makes the shoes, is actually 29. I apologize, but very young guy. This guy's only 40, and he's only been in office 1 year. And after 1 year, he's using now these draconian, strong-arm tactics to take over a nation. Yeah, it's New World Order stuff. It's exactly control out of chaos. It don't matter what kind of chaos it is, whether it's because you're saying you're cracking down on gang activity, or you're cracking down on a pandemic, or you're cracking down on a lack of food and water distribution has to be controlled by the government, or you're cracking down because of something else, an alien invasion. I don't know. You're cracking down because of shortages and maybe it's crime. You know, they defunded the police here in America. They let crime get out of control in every major city. And now they're crying that we've got a chaos, we've got a problem. So what? So what should we do? Should we just throw the Constitution out and put a strong-arm new leader in that cracks down on everybody and throws the Constitution? Crack down on crime, yes. Throw the Constitution out, no. I'm probably the first person that's even bringing this guy up. I don't think there's anybody out on anybody even recognizing. But see, I spot these guys early. I watch. I know the Bible. First of all, the Bible talks about these leaders that will rise up in the last day. These false leaders. Some will even call them. They might even call them prophets, new leaders. You know, they may start worshiping them almost. But we're in the last days. We're in the last days. And tonight we're going to talk about not only this guy, I want to talk about this guy and this type of mentality, this dictatorship mentality that we see Putin now. Putin was elected, and then, basically now it's just rigged. And now he changed the Constitution where he can never be removed until he dies, or unless somebody takes him out. And now look what he's doing. He's threatening the world with nukes. Oligarchs are dying everywhere. And I don't know who's killing them. I don't know if he's doing it, or if Americans are doing it, confiscating their funds, or if the Europeans are doing it, or if the New World Orders. I don't even know who's killing all these oligarchs. Somebody's killing them and killing their families and taking all the money. Somebody's following the money. But it's okay because Russia's threatening everybody with nukes, and then they're bombing Ukraine, so it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's never okay. You don't overcome evil with evil. You overcome evil with good. And what's good is that people keep the constitutional rights no matter where they live in the world. Yeah, look, ISIS even said they were coming to do away with corrupt government. So ISIS went romping and stomping through the Middle East, pushing their new doctrine of Sharia law. Beheading and murdering and raping and killing mercilessly across our mayors of cities and villages and towns all across Iraq and Syria. But they had a righteous cause, Brother Begley. They had a righteous cause. No, they don't have a righteous cause, because righteousness does not A corrupt tree can't bring forth good fruit. Neither can a good tree bring forth corrupt fruit. Two wrongs never make a right. It just makes two wrongs. Sort of like the Hatfields and McCoys. Well, they stole their pig, so they shot one of the kids. And then the other one was just shot and killed one over there. The next thing you know, it was a 100-year feud. They don't even know what they were fighting over. Yeah, but they had a right to. Glory to God. No, they didn't. I'm warning you about the guy in El Salvador because I saw what Hugo Chavez did in Venezuela. I saw what Manuel Noriega did in Panama. I saw what was that guy's name? Daniel Ortega did. Well, I know what Fidel Castro did. Okay? So Central America, South America, they know what it's like to have dictators rise. We saw, as I named all these dictators in Europe, we saw these in the Middle East. We've seen them in Africa. We could name them too, like Idi Amin in Uganda and all across, even now. I'm warning because you don't ever want it to come home. When they start suspending the Constitution and they give the rights of the people to one person or a small group of people or to the international body of the United Nations. When you do this stuff, the end is near. Mike from around the world is going to be with us tonight, but it's a doubleheader. Steve Quayle is going to join us first at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're starting early. Doubleheader with Steve Quayle and then Mike from around the world. This will be a powerful broadcast. I don't want you to miss it. Steve Quayle will be with us at 9 o'clock. And then Mike from around the world will join us. And we're going to talk about food shortages, white trailers, white trains that Mike talked about. We're going to talk about this guy in El Salvador and dictators and how do dictators rise. We're going to talk about Vladimir Putin threatened to nuke him. Boot scooting, Putin's nuking. I mean, seriously, we got to talk about it. Where are we going with Europe? Where now Putin's turned the gas off of Poland and Bulgaria. Now what's next? It's okay. He can do this, and there's nobody. Let me tell you more about it here in a second. Let me get a song just to calm myself down. Can I? Just to calm down. Can I? We got to give this world back to God. We got to do something. Because you can't sit there and do nothing. What?
Have you looked around? Have you heard the sound of mama's crying? Or do you turn away when you see the face of the innocent dying? In these darkest days, are you not afraid that it's too late? You gotta get down on your knees, believe, fold your hands and
thank you.
You gotta keep praying.
Thank you, Love and Obey. Thank you, John. Grab another cup of coffee and calm down and pray. Yeah, he came from, he's got Palestinian roots. Thank you for that. Very interesting, Sabrina. Very, very interesting. Somebody turned the internet off in France? What?
open. You can make a wish.
Who turned off their internet? Putin? I don't know. Maybe it's the New World Order. I got you. You're right.
You gotta cry, rain, tears of pain, pound the floor and scream his name, 'cause we're still worth saving.
Thank you, Johnny. You're right. We can't go on like this and live like this. We can't love like this.
With this world back to God. You gotta get down on your knees, believe, fold your hands and beg and plead, and keep on praying. You gotta cry, rain, tears of pain, pound the floor and scream his name, 'cause we're still worth saving. Can't go on like this and live like this. We can't love like this.
I know one thing. You can't throw innocent people in prison, strong arm, and suspend a constitution of freedom, and it never works. Follow your history. Learn your history, actually.
Oh, give it back.
Ah.
Hey!
I know. Thank you, Melinda, for reminding me. I know. You know why? Because I struck a nerve right there. Nobody's talking about this dude. I pulled it. I've stuck his face and said, "New dictator," and everybody's like, "Whoa!" freaking out. Oh yeah, you watch. You watch. The trolls will be rolling in here tonight. You are so right. Yep. Na, na, na. Na, 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 da, na. Na, na, na. Yeah, we're in the last days, guys. We are in the end times. We're in the last days. And see, can I tell you something? There's something that Heidi and I, we've talked about this a lot. And then almost 40 years of ministry, 38 years of ministry. Heidi and I have talked about this a lot, and that's when you start sticking up for the innocent. If you stick up for children, especially children that are being abused, the abusers, people will come after you. Every time I've ever talked about child abuse or what they're doing to children, then I get tons of haters. I get emails, I get death threats, I get trolls, I get, all these things. And it's because the devil loves to feed on innocent people or people who can't defend themselves. So this has always happened. When you start saying these abusers that are doing things to children, then the devil gets angry, gets very, very angry. And so today, I'm standing up for the El Salvador people. I don't like the gangs. I don't like the gangs here in America. I don't like the coyotes and the cartels all over the Mexican-American border on both sides. I don't like the gang members roaming through the streets of every major city in our nation. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I don't think we should suspend the Constitution of the United States. I think we should deal with the devil. We should double down on the devil in the name of Jesus. That's what I think. And we can, if we had the guts to do it right and still maintain the law and order and Constitution. Quit spending all this money on all this foolishness and start doing things right. It's not that hard if you do things right. But if you stick up for innocent people, you become the target. Okay? So I've already had it with this. I've been defending the women and children and innocent civilians of Ukraine. And everybody wants to say, yeah, but Putin's fighting the New World Order. Does that give him a right to just drop bombs on the apartment complexes all over? Have you even looked at what he did to Mariupol? Have you looked at what he's done to these cities? I talked to pastors on the ground. I helped get one family out of Ukraine. I mean, come on, folks. This ain't battlefield stuff going on. This is genocide going on. But if you defend the innocent, if you just defend the innocent, you become the target. If you defend the unborn, you become the target. If you defend the El Salvador people, you become the target. If you defend the truckers in Canada, you become the target. If you defend the innocent girls that ended up on Epstein Island, you become the target. Because that's all the devil's got, man. You talk about a wimp. The devil is the wimp of all wimps, to be quite honest with you. Oh, he's got power. Oh, he's ancient. Oh, I know that. I deal with him every day. I have. But I overcome him with the blood, the word of my testimony, and the blood of the Lamb. I overcome him with the word of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. I'm not saying I won't have a battle. I'm not saying I won't have a few scars. I'm not saying we won't get knocked down every now and then. But I'm saying we overcome him. We overcome him. Look at this. Here's a person in, let me see if I can get them right here. Here's somebody in El Salvador. It's amazing how blind the people are here in El Salvador. The youth practically worship him. I told you, because they don't know their history. The young people don't know. They're looking for a leader. They're looking for a dictator. They're looking for a worshiper. They want somebody they can worship. But they don't know when you surrender your rights to due process and the constitutions that protect you as a people and society, and you throw it in the hands of one guy and his regime, then disaster is just around the corner. And you can check history and see if I'm not right. The problem is nobody wants to dig back and look into history and see. They're too lazy. And they're already, I'm telling you, the New York Times is already starting to brag on this guy. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to give you a link from the New York Times. Read the article. Read what they say about this guy. There it is. There it is. Go read the article from the New York Times. How they praise this guy. You saw how they praised. Do you understand how they praised Justin Trudeau and how he handled? He basically said, I don't care what the Constitution of free speech says in Canada. He said, I don't care. These truckers don't have a right to have a peaceful protests. And they were being very peaceful. I mean, those people were peaceful as it gets. They had prayer meetings. They were peacefully protesting their right to have a right to protect their own physical body and to still have a right to work. And he said, I don't care. And guess what? After he smashed the truckers and confiscated their trucks and their livelihood and their bank and threw them in prison, guess what he did? Less than 6 weeks later, he suspended. They changed the rules. Okay, we're no longer doing this no more. Just 6 weeks away from walking away from the whole mandate thing. But see, he got it. I'm telling you, these guys, they have to answer to the puppet masters. They have to answer to the Illuminati. I'll be back with more information before I go get any further. We're in the last days. We're in the last days. It's all over the world, guys. It's all over the world. Jesus is coming soon.